My entitled aunt desperately wants to buy back the house she sold to my sister for less than a third of the price. My entitled aunt has been the primary source of headache for us as a family emotionally and monetarily. She would always ask my mom and dad for a loan that would take years for her to pay. Where those loans go is one of our biggest questions to date. And whenever my mom or my eldest sister would ask her for the payment, she would always play the I'm family card and be all emotional to play on my mom's emotions. My mom has a soft spot with her family and she would most likely let it slide. But not my eldest sister. She would constantly remind and warn my aunt to pay her debts or she'll do something about it. My aunt would then turn to my mom asking for protection from my sister, to which my mom would talk to my sister about it. My sister though is not having it and is just relentless on her pursuit of making my aunt pay her debts. This got to a point where my aunt warned to sue my sister if she doesn't stop, to which my sister openly invited. Ultimately, our aunt paid but not without any parting words of how our family are a bunch of rude people and that she would never ever talk to us again. And such. But after a month or so, she made up with my mom and everything was well. Except for my eldest sister. So for context, my aunt put her house up for sale due to her children moving out. Initially, she said that the house was getting too big for me to keep and maintain and that she'd plan on buying a nice condominium near the downtown area. My uncle didn't want her to sell it to someone they do not know or at least does not have an affinity to, so she suggested to sell the house to a relative or a super close friend. My aunt then talked to my youngest sister and pitched her the idea of buying the house from her. At first, my sister didn't really want to entertain the idea of buying a house at this point in time as they have 2 kids that they are sending to a not-so-cheap school. But my aunt then pulled the sentimental value card and said that it would be a shame if the house was sold to someone else. Admittedly though, the house did have sentimental value for us siblings and cousins. We used to spend our summers over there as it's in a pretty nice neighborhood and we have friends there as well. A basketball court is fronting the house which is a win-win situation since they both have boys and her husband is a good basketball player. My aunt saw this as an opportunity for the boys and her husband to train or whatever. To my aunt's credit, she did have a nice pitch to my sister so I got to give her that. My sister and her husband discussed this in length. My sister and her husband decided to buy the house as they have long planned to have a house of their own. But her husband's grandmother begged them to stay at the current house they're living in until his grandmother can return back as she was sorting something out from a different city. So they decided to have at least until they are ready to move. My eldest sister, who by the way was against all of this, helped with all the contract and legal stuff so they can cover all their bases. The house and lot was sold for more or less 1 million pesos. My sister gave my aunt a more than generous amount of time to move out. When the time came that everything was moved out, my sister and her husband decided to pay a visit to their recently bought house and see to what extent the renovation would be. And to their surprise, the condition of the house was a literal crap hole. The walls and ceiling were falling apart, the tiles on the floor were chipped or starting to get chipped, the main bedroom was a mess, and the kitchen smelled like someone died in there for weeks. Although my aunt did disclose that some renovation work would be needed, but she never disclosed that the house was that effed up. But whatever, they decided to have the house renovated and it cost them another 300K. Once the renovation was done, the difference was night and day. As they were not moving into the new house yet, they listed the house for lease on some places and it garnered a lot of interest. The house was then leased to a foreign couple. The transaction went smoothly with the help of my eldest sister once again. And the couple even paid full price for the whole duration of the lease. Everything was as smooth as butter. Until yesterday. My sister got a call from the couple who leased the house early in the morning when she was dropping off the kids to school. This was on a Monday and my sister is usually super busy on these days. And this was one of those days. She answered the call and the following ensued. Sister, hello, husband of family moving in, haven't heard from you for a long time. May I know why you called? Husband, there's someone at the gate claiming that this is her house? Sister, confused, huh? She just might be a crazy person roaming around the area. Husband, well no, she showed me pictures of the house and are in it. At this point, my sister kind of knew what was happening so she hurriedly drove there. She was coming from the different side of town, so it took her about an hour to get there. When she got there, she saw our aunt outside screaming to let her in. The neighbors were already out and witnessing the commotion. Our aunt sees my sister and hurriedly goes to her. Aunt, hey sister. They won't let me in. Points towards the nice couple. Sister, aunt, what are you doing here? Aunt, well, this was once my house. Am I not allowed to enter? Sister, what do you mean? Aunt, I sold you this house, remember? And now I see that someone else is living here. Sister, well, they are leasing the house. Aunt, what? Why would you lease the house to someone I don't know? Sister, getting angry, because this is my house? I can lease it to whoever I want. At this point, my sister couldn't believe the stupidity of this situation and was kind of getting embarrassed with the neighbors looking on. So she told EA to go inside so they can discuss it. Once they were in the house, my sister introduced our aunt to the couple who leased the property and the following ensued. Aunt, to the couple, how much did you lease the house for? Husband, excuse me? Aunt, I said, how much did you pay for the lease? Husband, I'm sorry, but we don't see the need of discussing that to you. Aunt, why not? Turns to my sister and asks, how much are they paying for the lease? Sister, it's none of your business. This is my property and I'm already generous enough to have let you in. Aunt, what? I sold you this beautiful house and you treat me this way? Looks at the couple again, was the house sold to you too? Tell me. Husband, laughs, look lady, even if we did buy it, we don't need to tell you the specifics since we're not dealing with you. And no, we didn't buy this house. Aunt, you're a liar. Faces my sister, I'll take the house back now. Sister, excuse me? Are you out of your mind? Aunt, no I'm not. And it's clear to me that you're an irresponsible homeowner. Take something from her bag. Here, take this 300,000 pesos and give me back my house. Sister, 300,000 pesos? Seriously? Slams the money to Aunt's chest. My sister is fuming at this point. You need to leave my property right now. I won't allow you to disrespect me in front of these nice people. 300,000 when we bought this house from you for 1 million? Aunt, you can't kick me out of here. This is my house. Sister, grabs her phone, I'm calling the cops now. And then bolts out of there. On her way out, she screamed I'll come back and take the house. This is not the end of this. After Aunt was nowhere to be seen, my sister broke down in front of the nice couple. The couple asked her a few details about our aunt and they were super understanding. My sister offered to return about a quarter of the total money they paid for the lease, but the couple said that it's not necessary. Her husband knew what happened and he was furious to a point that he almost went to the condominium where the aunt was living in, but my sister was able to calm her down before anything bad happened. As of now, my sister and her husband are seeking legal advice from my eldest sister and her firm.